Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Hyperbase Mini. Essentially what this thing is a mini USB drive with a pre-installed Batocera build. You pretty much plug this into any PC, boot from the USB drive, and it essentially turns whatever PC it's plugged into a retro game console. The drive itself is super tiny, and it's USB 3.0 and claims to have over 40,000 retro games. But how well does this thing perform and what kind of games does it have on it? Let's find out. So for this test run, I'm going to be plugging it into one of these mini PCs that I have. One, because I'm really interested to see how it does with a low spec machine. And two, because I don't think it's a very good idea to test out a mystery USB stick from China on my primary PC. So in order to get this thing to boot, you have to go into your BIOS menu and opt to boot from the USB. Supposedly it works for Mac users as well, but I won't be testing it out on a Mac. Once I changed my boot configuration, it booted right into Batocera. So it gets the green light for not having any viruses or spyware. Browsing the game selection menu, it seems to have a lot of retro PC titles, which makes a lot of sense because this is obviously geared more towards PC owners. But I didn't grow up as a PC gamer, and in terms of its console retro selection, it's pretty hit or miss. Now, while it has a really solid 8-bit and 16-bit library, past that, it's pretty much a roll of the dice. Like some of the more heavy-hitting consoles like Xbox, Wii, GameCube, PlayStation 3, all seem to have one game. I wasn't expecting much considering this thing retails for about $40 US, but I have to say even at that, it kind of disappointed me in terms of its game selection. Putting that aside, let's make sure that everything works proper. The one Xbox game that it had was Jet Set Radio Future, and it being a pretty low resource demanding game, it seemed to work fine on the machines that I tried it on. Trying out one of the Wii titles was Super Mario All-Stars, which isn't even really a Wii game, but I guess it worked fine. The one GameCube game that was on here was 4x4 Evo Part 2, and I've never played this game before, and for damn good reason. This game is absolute ass. The race mechanics are trash, and at one point I actually got stuck underwater. Out of all the damn GameCube games in existence, why did they pick this one to be on here? I would have rather them not have any GameCube games at all. I switched over to PS2, and the one PlayStation 2 game that it had on here was Burnout 3 Takedown, which is a much better racing game. But all things considered, if they were going to pick one PS2 game to be on this thing, why this one? The only PSP game that was available was Super Collapse 3. I don't even know what the hell that game is, and I'm not even going to bother trying it. At this point, I was kind of starting to get a little pissed off until I switched over to N64. It has a fantastic N64 library, and all the games I tried ran exceptionally well. That joy was short-lived because once I started scrolling through the PlayStation library, I didn't know what half these damn games were. With the exception of Dragon Ball GT Final Bout and a couple of others, they picked the most obscure random-ass games to put on this thing. I switched over to Dreamcast and it was the same nonsense. The only game they had was Crazy Taxi. To end this review on a more positive note, the NES collection pretty much seemed to be a full set and everything ran well. It was the same thing with SNES. It seemed like all the titles were present, and I didn't have any problems running anything. That also applied to Sega Genesis, and all of the games I tried ran really good. So the Hyperbase Mini, I don't even know what to say about this thing. I mean, I guess it's great for retro PC enthusiasts, but I don't fall into that bracket. And even if I were to go through the libraries for the retro PC games, I wouldn't even know where the hell to start, because that's not a world that I was part of. But as a console gamer, this thing is pretty lackluster. It has some pretty impressive emulators preloaded onto this thing. It just doesn't have the games to back it up. Or if you have a low-powered mini PC lying around and you want to spice it up and have it play some retro games, this might be something worth looking into. But if I'm being quite honest, it's not that difficult to make your own Batocera build. I would probably just go that route. Anyway, if you guys are interested in the Hyperbase Mini, I'll put links in the description below. Until next time, this is Ness, signing out.